Sleep as the Shadow, a Jungian framework for toxicity and devotion, the core conflict in Sleep Token's lyrical output, often disguised by mystical and religious imagery, is fundamentally a psychological drama centered on Vessel's toxic relationship with the entity known as sleep. When stripped of its ritualistic aesthetic, the narrative depicts an abusive partnership where Vessel exhibits profound codependency, believing he cannot exist without sleep, even though the devotion is ultimately destructive. The act of worshipping sleep vividly illustrates the inherent danger of elevating an abusive figure onto an unassailable pedestal. This central conflict finds compelling structure through the lens of analytical psychology, specifically Carl Jung's concept of the shadow archetype. Sleep aligns strikingly with the shadow, representing the darker, repressed side of the psyche, the aggregation of carnal desires, wildness, chaos, and all elements deemed unacceptable by societal norms or one's personal morality. The presence of the runic symbol Awas, particularly during the "this place will become your tomb" era, further substantiates this psychological reading. Awas represents the balancing of processes and the restoration of internal equilibrium, reflecting a conscious exploration of the psyche required to attain wholeness. This psychological framework provides a powerful explanation for the band's notorious genre fluidity. Sleep Token's music challenges boundaries by blending alternative metal, progressive metal, post-metal, gent, indie pop, R&B, trap beats, and jazz piano. This synthesis is not arbitrary. It is the structural manifestation of the psychological conflict. The heavy, low-tuned metal and gent sections represent the chaotic, wild, and destructive influence of the shadow archetype, while the soft, melancholic pop and R&B elements symbolize Vessel's fragile consciousness, or his yearning for the emotional balance that the shadow has disrupted. The music's structural coherence is maintained precisely because the entire composition embodies the internal conflict between these opposing forces. The narrative is frequently understood as a complex metaphor for compulsion or addiction. If sleep is interpreted as the destructive focus of addiction, be it substance abuse or codependency on a toxic partner, then the token represents the repetitive, self-destructive behavior undertaken to escape the pain of real life. Lyrics consistently utilize gold imagery, references to holy water, and sexualized metaphors, all of which underscore the destructive, yet equally addictive, nature of the romance. The relationship functions as a chemically ingrained dependency, moving the narrative beyond simple heartbreak into the realm of profound psychic illness. Have you ever listened to an album and felt like you were part of a much bigger story? That's the magic of Sleep Token, their trilogy of albums Sundowning. This Place Will Become Your Tomb and Take Me Back to Eden isn't just a collection of songs. It's an epic narrative, a deep dive into a toxic relationship, and a journey of devotion, decay, and ultimately resignation. Let's unravel this lyrical masterpiece together. The story follows a central character known as Vessel and his relationship with an ancient, powerful deity called Sleep. It's a progressive descent into a self-destructive cycle, a saga told across 3 distinct phases. It all begins with the first album, Sundowning. This is the seduction phase. In the opening track, Thread the Needle, Sleep lures Vessel in, promising to be a source of comfort, something to confine in and a way to erase all his past worries and even his own identity. This is classic love bombing overwhelming a person with affection to gain control. And it works because Vessel is portrayed as emotionally starved, isolated, and haunted by his past mistakes, as we hear in Fields of Elation. He feels trapped, depressed, and unable to escape his own history. So when Sleep offers this all-encompassing escape, he grabs it. The imagery of threading the needle is really potent. On one hand, it's sensual, but metaphorically, it represents the growing symbiosis. The way sleep is weaving itself into the very fabric of Vessel's being, gaining more and more control. This culminates in the song The Offering, where Vessel completely surrenders. He offers himself up in total devotion, accepting his new role as Sleep's vessel. The album's title, Sundowning, is incredibly significant. Sundowning is a real neurological phenomenon, often associated with dementia, where confusion and agitation worsen as daylight fades. This suggests that Vessel is losing his mental clarity, his ability to see the relationship for what it is, toxic. As night falls on his old self, he loses the cognitive ability to recognize the danger he's in. He's willingly walking into the dark, believing it's a sanctuary. Then we move into the second chapter, the album This Place Will Become Your Tomb. The title alone tells you things are about to get much, much worse. The seduction is over, and now we witness the erosion and confrontation. The initial comfort has soured into something oppressive. Vessel is starting to see the red flags, the dark signs he might have ignored before. He feels the manipulative pressure wearing him down, a theme powerfully expressed in the song Higher. He's losing his grip, surrendering control and undergoing an irreversible change. This album is where the true cost of the relationship becomes painfully clear. A pivotal moment happens in the song Bloodsport. It's a raw, heartbreaking confession. Vessel admits he knows his love for sleep is unrequited and deeply toxic, but he's willing to endure the pain to keep playing the game even though it's destroying him. It's a declaration of codependency at its most extreme. This realization leads to a complete breakdown, leaving him feeling utterly helpless and trapped in a place that has, as the title promises, become his tomb. What makes this phase even more chilling is the use of chemical metaphors. Songs like Alkaline and Aqua Regia use the language of chemistry to describe the relationship. Aqua Regia, for instance, is a highly corrosive acid mixture that can dissolve noble metals like gold. This suggests that the toxic bond with sleep isn't just an emotional or psychological issue anymore. It has become physically and chemically ingrained in Vessel's very being. It's like an addiction that has rewired his entire system, making escape seem impossible. The love has become a corrosive agent, dissolving his former self. To truly understand the depth of this narrative, we need to look at a crucial piece of lore mentioned outside the music: the city of Jericho. In the real world, Jericho is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities, known for its turbulent history where new civilizations were constantly built upon the ruins of old ones. This is a powerful metaphor for what's happening to Vessel. The trilogy explores the decay of the body and mind. As Vessel's material self, his personality, his memories, his identity crumbles and decays, the core essence of the relationship, the entity sleep, remains. It's permanent. The parallel to Jericho suggests that the dependent, broken version of Vessel we see now is just the latest ruined structure built over the foundations of his former self. Each attempt to rebuild is just another layer of ruin. This highlights the permanence of the psychological damage. It's not just a bad breakup he can recover from. It's a complete raising of his inner landscape, with the toxic influence of sleep as the unshakable foundation upon which all future ruin will be built. This adds a layer of ancient, historical tragedy to Vessel's personal struggle, making his story feel both intimate and timeless. This entire trilogy is a masterclass in storytelling, using myth, metaphor, and raw emotion to paint a devastating picture of a parasitic relationship. From the initial deceptive warmth of sundowning to the corrosive breakdown in this place will become your tomb. Sleep Token takes us on an unforgettable journey into the darkest corners of the human heart. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of Sleep Token. If you enjoyed this analysis, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the hidden vaults of music. Let me know in the comments what other musical lore you'd like to see deciphered. Until next time, worship.